Hello, hypothetical listeners. My name is Matthew, and this is
We aren't
Nolan.
even in the recording thing.
I know I recorded it. It's recording now.
What?
Well, welcome to the podcast, Nolan. How are you doing? This is the fourth attempt at recording this. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. We're not in the recording VC, but I guess we can do it in this one.
Bro, don't ruin the illusion, dude. What the
Well,
Nolan?
you made the VC.
I don't need this criticism. All right, I don't need it. I don't need it. But I'm not important. What's up, Nolan? How's it going?
It's going all right. You know, getting by the day to day.
That's good, man. What's your day to day look like?
Go to work, come home from work, sleep,
Fantastic.
except on the weekends
Oh, no sleep on the
where I
weekends. I get that.
uh yep, I just work. I stay up for 48 hours.
It would not surprise me, honestly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we do have bags under our eyes. One of us.
Yes.
I really hope that the this recording doesn't hear the constant Discord bloops. Um,
I'm sure it does because Chris is, he's being such a good supportive friend.
he is saying cool, have fun. Shout out to Chris episode 2. Thank you.
Shout out
Don't
Chris,
type
episode
in the
two.
Discord a recording, man.
Well,
It's
we're
okay.
not in the recording
Well, okay,
VC.
you know what? We if hey, all right, when you make your own thing, you can complain to me. But no. So
All
anyway,
right.
Nolan, what do you want to talk about?
Well, there's a lot of things we could talk about.
Okay.
I don't think we necessarily have to do the same stuff on the three other
Do
attempts.
you think there's an afterlife?
I hope there is. You know, like
Okay.
I'd rather there be one than not.
Okay. What would you want your perfect afterlife to be?
Uh, Probably just like stereotypical, like your cloud, and then
Cloud?
you're just vibing in cloud, and then I can walk over and be like, "Yo, Grandpa, what's up?" And he's like, "What's up?" And that's it.
Is there an
You just get chilling.
expiration date on like how long you're allowed to be in heaven? Or is it just like infinite people? Like, cause how would you find your loved ones?
I imagine there's like a Google search bar
So
where you can
Google
be like,
exists in
"Okay,
heaven.
yeah."
Okay.
Well, I feel like if you be like, "Hey, I want to see X," and if they're like a famous person, there's a line,
What would
or
heaven's
you can just
UI
like,
be?
um. Probably, probably Google. They got some smart guys up there. They could
Google.
probably be like, "Yo, check
What was
this
it
out."
before Google existed?
You just had to yell, be like, "Hey, is this around?"
Okay. Interesting.
And then an angel would be like, "No, he's in the bathroom." And we're like,
Okay.
"Oh, okay." And carry on with your day.
What if they have the same, what if there's like 3 billion people with the same name?
I never thought about that. I guess you would just have to individually siphon through, unless you have like a number associated to you, where it's like, I want to talk to John 1,389,426,000.
Well, how would you know
Oh
which
no,
number
that's
John
that's the other.
is?
Well, yeah, I
Is
guess you
there a
just have
is
to
there a
like.
heaven phone book? The yellow
I
pages?
mean, I'd hope so. I hope you have to go through the yellow pages, because how else are you gonna find out which John is which John?
I guess so. Can you
Yeah.
do the sinful stuff once you get into heaven?
Um.
Like, because if it's like infinite pleasures, right? And like you're just like
Yeah.
infinitely great, like, is it only like God approved pleasures?
It's only at most PG-13.
Okay.
Um. Yeah. I feel like debauchery. You have to go to
I'm
if
talking
you
about like
want some of the
debauchery,
real
but like,
debaucherous stuff. No, I'm talking about like if you want to do any of the real debaucherous stuff, you gotta go down to hell.
okay, is so you can get kicked out. What's your up top?
I imagine so. I imagine there's like a rule code where you gotta be like, okay, you got here, but you gotta follow the rules, or else downstairs. Oh.
Do you think you'd get into heaven?
No,
Okay, good to know.
absolutely not.
What would be your biggest offense?
To get into heaven?
Yes.
I mean, I haven't. Hmm. I don't know. I try not to do stuff with the idea that it'll get me into heaven, right?
Okay. So this
If
isn't like an
said
active
heaven
thought
exists.
in your mind. Like, should I
No.
make this choice? Should I get 2 hamburgers instead of one so
Well,
I could
no,
not
it's
be
like
gluttonous today?
if I do like a good deed or something, right? My thought process isn't
Oh,
like
heaven score
if I
increased.
yeah, heaven score. Let's go.
You don't picture
I
it as
just
the
do it
good place?
yeah, I do it as like I just want to help a person. So I don't really have that mindset.
Yet you don't think you'll get into heaven. What would be okay, well, Nolan, what is the single worst thing you've ever done in your entire life?
Um, oh man.
Don't worry. Um the
Well,
amount
I
of people
guess
will
like
hear this
by
is dependent on a lot of
I get like
factors.
the idea behind like what like heaven is like you gotta be real careful. I mean, I've had premarital sex,
Okay,
so like that's
no need to
already
brag.
off the. Well,
Um
no, I'm just saying like that's already off the chopping block, right?
yeah.
It's like you can't get in there if you have premarital sex, and it's like, oh well, I guess I'm screwed.
Okay. By the way, so the questions I might ask in this episode is for the audience, the hypothetical audience.
I
Um,
like all this.
Nolan, I asked a lot of questions to, because it's mostly what I do to my friends is ask them questions about stuff. Nolan is someone
Mhm.
who has been on the record saying he will answer any question.
Yes.
What is your social security?
Okay. Well, it's 568.
Okay, get your pens.
Wait, what?
I just want to see the fake number you give. Honestly.
I don't. Okay. Here's the thing. I don't want to give a fake number and it turning out to be like someone's actual social security.
Well, if you throw a dart at a dartboard, I imagine you'll hit a social security number.
Well, yeah, but it's like I don't want Riley Smith to out of nowhere be like, what the
Are you
fuck? Why it
doxing
says my
Riley Smith,
identity was
man?
stolen? I I don't know. I
Why'd
don't
you have
want
to
to
do?
dox Riley
Why'd you have
Smith.
to do him or her or them like that? Like,
I don't know, man.
why'd you choose
Like
the name
they're
Riley
just living their
Smith?
life. Okay, why are you asking me all these questions?
This is what I do.
Oh yeah, that's a good
This
point.
is my thing. I just explained this.
All right, listen, Riley Smith, who or wherever you are, hope you're having a good day. I'm not
And
gonna say your social
send your
security.
social security number in the chat. Okay, so
Yeah, that's your
by
responsibility.
chat I mean
Oh my.
comments. This isn't
Put it
live
down in the
streamed.
comment section.
Yeah, put it in
Did
chat.
you know? Did you know that? I don't know if it'll do it on yours, but if you say subscribe,
Yeah, I
the little
saw that.
button gets
I
all
saw that.
rainbowy.
Subscribe.
The like button.
I didn't see the for the like button.
I
Um,
think it does.
I
I don't
don't
know. It
tell
might
people
not.
to subscribe most of the time. I'm not very
Well, yeah, but it's funny.
promoting of this endeavor. But Nolan, back to you, which is what this episode's
Back to
about.
me. Yep.
Out of the things you'd like to share,
Mhm.
what is the single dumbest thing you've ever done? I've asked this question
Single
before.
dumbest thing?
Yeah, single dumbest thing. You've lived a very
Um.
what's the word for
Ooh.
it?
Idiotic.
Your life is high in pulp, I would say.
That's a way to describe it.
It's an accurate
Um.
way to describe it.
I mean, like, hmm. I mean,
Rich and textured.
I almost cut my finger off when I was a kid while trying to clean a buzzsaw,
Why are you cleaning a
and it
buzzsaw
wasn't
as a child?
because I was cleaning the garage, and then I was like, "Oh, this buzzsaw is all dusty. I'll clean that too." And it was plugged in, And then I was like cleaning it, and then I hit the button, and my finger almost came off, and now I have a scar on my thumb.
Damn.
That was pretty stupid.
Why would you go thumb first? That's like the most important finger.
Well, no, it's because the motion I was doing it at, where I was like, I had the cloth and was moving it, and then the thumb just so happened to be right under the blade, and then I accidentally hit the button and went, whoosh, and then I was like, ouchies, and then I had cherry pop tarts.
Is that the worst injury you've had?
No.
Okay.
Um, worst. Well, the worst injury I've had.
The
That's
bike?
like not. The bike was pretty. That was also a pretty stupid moment. Um,
Well,
for context, in high school, um, I used to ride my bike to school, and my chain got undone because a stick flew into it. And like an idiot, I tried to brake with both like brake handles, and I wasn't gonna like slam on them, but I was like, oh, if I just tap them a little bit, then I'll be fine. But with the way that the stick was, just the slightest tap on my bike sent me flying. I flew like 10 feet in front of my bike because I was going pretty fast, and I slid on my left side of my face like a couple feet, and then I flipped forward and landed on my back. And then I got up and the adrenaline was rushing, and I was like, oh man,
and you're saying
that
there's
was
a
pretty
worse
crazy.
injury.
Yeah. And then I just
Okay.
walked home, and I was walking by people because I was cursing up a storm. I was like, God fucking damn it. Um, and then after that, I got to my house after walking home, and I just saw my mom outside, and I just I started to cry because then the adrenaline faded away when I saw my mom, and it was so fucking bad. It hurt so bad. I was like, oh my God, mom, please help. And she was like, "Oh Jesus! All right, I'll help you." And then she put a bunch of bandages and gauze on it and all that stuff. And then I went to school, and it was like, "Whoa, what happened, Nolan?" And I was like, "I fell on my bike."
But Nolan, so you're saying this isn't the
Yes.
worst injury you've gone through?
No. Worst injury was breaking my ribs.
How'd you break your
That
ribs if you want to share
sucked.
it?
I was surfing in Florida,
Okay.
and I. So the way that like one thing you have to always be careful about is tide, right? Because you can get caught in a tide, and then you're just kind of like going, if you're trying to go against it, you're not going to be able to swim away.
Yeah.
And the situation was it was low tide, and I was caught in a current,
Okay.
and there was a reef on the beach I was at in Florida where it was starting to, since it was low tide, the rocks were kind of pointing out a little bit,
Mm.
so you could see this rock formation start to go out, and the current was leading me to this reef, and I wasn't paying attention when suddenly I got off my board just to kind of like relax in the ocean for a little bit,
Yeah.
and I was swept into this current, and I slammed the left side of my body directly into these rocks,
Okay.
and that shattered three
Damn.
ribs.
Jesus.
It shattered three ribs, and I like got back on my board. I was gasping for air. Luckily, it didn't puncture a lung. If it
Yeah.
punctured a lung, I would have been donezo. But I was just on my board, gasping for air, when my dad saw me. He was like, "Oh fuck!" And so he ran over, grabbed me. We swam back out, and he was like, "What happened?" I was like, "I got caught in a current, and I think I almost drowned." And he was like, "Oh, are you all right?" I'm like, "No." So it's in the hospital, and I got an X-ray, and it's like, yeah, you have three broken ribs. I'm like, great.
Okay. So you broke 3 ribs.
Yeah,
Jesus, man. I
yeah, it
don't.
sucked. And the thing about ribs, right, is like you break an arm or something like that, you can just put a cast on it.
Yeah.
But with ribs, you just kind of have to let them be.
Like mend.
Yeah. So they basically just like put them in a way to where they would just heal over time. And I was like, all right, just deal with that now. I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, you just for 6 months, you just kind of have to deal with it.
6 months. Oh
Yeah.
God.
And I was just like, awesome. And so for 6 months, I was in so much pain that like moving my body weird would hurt, and I still had to go to work. So I was like, great, awesome. This was on a dishwasher, and so I would just be washing dishes, and I would move a certain way, and I just like grab onto something really tight, and just like, okay, I'll get those dishes right out.
That is miserable. I'm sorry you had to go through that, man.
It sucks, but they don't hurt anymore. I can punch them all I want, and I don't want to feel a ding dang thing.
Okay, let me ask you a question on that though. Okay, so you're surfing, you get
Yeah.
trapped in a current. 6 months of your life is miserable,
Mhm.
and yet you want to be a marine biologist.
I love the ocean. I love little fish. They're cool.
Okay,
Listen,
I could not, dude. I think I have some level of
whatever doesn't kill you makes you
thalassophobia.
stronger.
Until the next thing kills you. Like it's like okay, yeah, all right.
Uh, I guess so.
Except if like you get paralyzed and you can't like do anything.
Nah, but then I just go to aquariums all around like Stephen Hawking, and I'll be like, wow, look at that fish.
Okay, all right, man.
It's kind of in bad taste.
Okay, Jesus. Okay, Nolan. Let's move on. All right.
All right. All
What what
right.
what do you want to talk about, man?
I don't know. I mean, I hmm, on the subject of like marine biology stuff.
Yeah.
So why do you think you have phasmophobia or whatever it's called, like phasmophobia?
Well, Phasmophobia is a video game where you run away from ghosts. Thalassophobia is like the
Phasmophobia.
fear of like the deep water. Um,
Okay.
I I think it's like a fear of the unknown. I think it's that to like its greatest extent. And like the
Mhm.
ocean, I think the ocean like to a certain extent is more dangerous than like outer space at a certain point.
Yeah.
Um like if you go to the bottom of the ocean, there's like crushing pressure that will break your bones. You can't even just use oxygen at that point. You have to mix it with nitrogen so you don't like die.
Mhm.
And it gives you like this other thing, but that nitrogen also makes you like go a bit crazy if you have too much of it. Like certain like divers will go down to the bottom of like a underwater cave, and then their oxygen and nitrogen, they'll get like delirious and then think like down is up. So they just begin like swimming downwards, just like drown themselves, and they have such little supply of it. I don't know. It just seems like the most
Yeah.
dangerous possible thing you could do.
But that's what makes it so fascinating, right? It's the idea of the ocean. We know so little about what's just below us by comparison of what's the vast infinity that's above us, right? The stars in space, we've mapped out like so many different things, but we still don't know so much about the ocean and what lies within it. And that makes me excited, right? It's
The
this
like unknown
idea.
frontier.
It's like such a different kind of frontier, right?
Okay.
Space is the final frontier, right? That's like where we're gonna go eventually. But
Hmm.
the ocean is us. We came from it. If you believe in like evolution and all that, like we came from the ocean. Life itself evolved from that water, and so to find the mysteries of it, to me, is so cool.
Hmm.
I don't know. I just find it fascinating. Like, did you know there's just like a form of jellyfish that's just immortal?
I didn't know about that. I know
There's
like
like,
there's like some species of like I think it's helmet crab. Not helmet crab. What's the one? What's the one where it's like I think it's helmet crab. They just like have lived since like dinosaur times, like before
yeah,
the Precambrian. Um,
But like, there's a form of jellyfish, right? That it gets its immortality not because it just lives forever, but it the way that its cells work is that once their cells get too old, they just their cell production allows them to make new cells as if being born again, and then just get rid of the old cells by like shedding them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's an effective form of immortality, and like doctors and scientists are researching that because if we can find out how that works, that might be a way to effectively beat cancer. How crazy is that?
I mean,
Jellyfish can just not have cancer because it's like, oh, these cells are weird, and then it just fixes it. Same with axolotls. Axolotls, the way that they like grow back limbs is different than like normal lizards. And it's the same idea of this cell production that's crazy, and researchers are looking into like how that's done so that we can regrow limbs.
would you want a limb regrown?
I
Let's
feel
say you
like that'd
cut
be
your
a cool
finger off with that
experience.
buzzsaw.
Oh, bye bye finger. And then I get like a little bit of axolotl juice and I slap it on there, and then a couple weeks later I get like a thumb. That'd be pretty cool.
Do you think humans are going to be able to get to that level of technological advancement?
I would hope so.
Hmm.
I feel that in time, if we have it, then yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. On the subject of marine biology, have you ever seen the movie Mega?
No. Is it about
Oh,
like the giant squid? Also, I've
no.
been able to forget about this. Okay, it's not the Precambrian. The Precambrian is like there's like no life. It's like the
Yeah. The Cambrian explosion is
Permian or something.
yeah, the Cambrian explosion is where like multicellular organisms start to show up a lot more.
Permian
Um,
is what I'm thinking of. Okay.
but there's a movie called Mega, and if you don't know what Mega is, it's a movie about a megalodon that just shows up
Are you talking about the
and
Meg?
or the Meg.
I've seen the Meg. That movie is stupid, dude.
Yeah, I wanted to mention it because I hate that movie.
Why do you hate that movie?
It is, first of all, the Meg, really?
Oh, you thought it was called Mega.
Well, yeah, but like the Meg, that's the name you decide to go for, not like
What's
something. I don't know. It's
what's a
just
better
like, come
name?
on, man. You could just do like the Megalodon or fucking just Megalodon or like prehistoric or some shit. I don't fucking know.
Okay,
Like the
I don't
Meg.
think Megalodon is a good name.
Well, okay, listen. The Meg is an awful name and I hate it.
Okay.
Secondly, it's just a boring bad movie with an actor that I hate.
You hate Jason Statham?
I Oh, don't even get me started on Jason
Why do you hate
Statham.
Jason Statham? Statham.
Jason Statham, The Rock, and Vin Diesel. Right?
So you're a
Those
Fast
three
and Furious
actors.
fan.
I'm a Fast and Furious hater.
Okay.
Um, all three of them have in their contracts,
Oh, they have like
like
the
in
fight. They have to like win a certain percentage. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's not that they have to win a certain percentage, it's that they cannot lose. If you look at any one of their fights, it's not a loss, it's like a draw. It's like some exterior circumstance causes them to not be able to like deal the finishing blow or something, and then the bad guy gets away, right?
Yeah. Okay. I
It
know
is
about those. I hate those. I think it's really
I
stupid.
I was like, how big does your ego have to be to like sometimes I get it, right? You have a reputation to uphold where you're like the big strong guy in movies. But oh my god, how do you have such a big ego to just like, oh no, I that's like if you're a kid on the playground, you're like, no, I have all the powers, I can't lose. It's in the rules, it's in the rules. Come on,
My
man.
power is laser eyes. My power is God? Yeah. Okay, I take away your laser eyes. Ha ha! Ha ha!
Literally,
Alright.
it's so stupid. It's like, come on, man.
I saw a thing where it was like The Rock was like, I can't lose, and it was like paper is responding. I don't understand. I think I for The Rock at least I think it comes from some sort of like wrestler. It comes from like his
Yeah,
WWE like the experience he has in that where it's like winning is seen as like this like thing you need to have for like to maintain face. But like, I don't know, it just kind of defeats the point of like storytelling, I guess, to me, where it's like, okay, well, here's my story. It's like, well, this guy's gonna play a character in your story and he can't lose. So we're gonna need you to like kind of mess with it so that he's not seen as a chump loser.
yeah. On the opposite side of the spectrum, Danny Trejo,
Mm-hmm.
in his contract, he usually like if whenever he plays bad guys in movies,
Yes.
he requires that they die.
Why?
So that he's like he does it so that it's like I don't want kids to be like I don't want villains to win. It's the idea of like crime's bad, don't do it
Is it the
to
Comics Code
anyone who's watching his.
Authority approving his thing?
Yeah, I guess, but it's like if he ever plays a bad guy, he requires that they die.
I don't mind that as much. I think,
Yeah, I feel like that's the opposite side of the spectrum where it's still like okay, I guess, but it comes from a better place at least.
yeah, it's not like I need to maintain my ego. I
Yeah,
can't lose. What are you? You
which mad props for Danny Trejo.
Floyd Mayweather? Calm down, man. Why do
Danny
you
Trejo is a
think? No,
cool guy.
sorry, say your thing.
Well, no, I was just gonna say Dan Trejo has a cool day.
You like Danny Trejo?
Yeah, he's cool.
I haven't seen most of his movies. I know he's in one of the Spy Kids movies. I think.
Yeah,
I think he's in one of those. But
yeah, I think so. But yeah.
okay.
All right, what are you about to say?
Question time.
Question time. Let's hear.
Drum roll, please, Nolan. Thank you.
I'm hitting my computer.
Um, what do you fear most?
Spiders.
What about spiders is like scary to you?
Just the way they move is
Unless you
so
don't want to
alien.
talk about it, because I know that
Mm,
can.
No, it's fine. Like the way that they move is so alien, right?
Yeah.
Things. I don't know. It's just like kind of the same area of like it's just I don't like how they move
Hmm.
because they just could do the way that they fucking lift their legs. It's just they look mischievous. And close up of a spider's face is horrifying.
Well, because of any bug face is going to be scary. Like they're not
Yeah,
very appealing
ants.
creatures.
Ant faces aren't that scary. Got big eyes and like big pincers.
If you were walking around Nolan and you saw a guy with the head of a dog, I don't think you'd be like scared of it. I think if you were walking around and you saw a realistic ant head on a man, he would horrify you.
If I saw a dude walking around with a realistic ant head, I'd be intrigued as to why he had a realistic ant head and be like, "Hey, are you? Is that like a helmet or a hat?"
You live in a society where people have animal heads.
Yeah.
So this isn't
Okay.
a strange occurrence.
Okay.
I think ant heads are horrifying if they're sized up. Like I don't think
I
there's
don't
any
think.
difference between that and a spider head. I think the eyes
I think there's a
maybe,
big
but
difference.
I think it's like a 2 point difference max. I out of
Listen,
10.
if Ant Man and the Wasp can make giant ant heads not scary, then I feel like they're not that scary. Because you watch Ant Man and the Wasp, and they're giant ants, and they're like you can get a clear visage of what an ant looks like, and it's like, oh, that's not that bad. But like a spider or like a wasp, dude,
A wasp has a
shit's
very similar face to
yeah,
a
yeah, but
ant.
it's like but it's like they have more eye. It's weird because the way that their face is structured is way more slim, and they fucking cock their head weird. Wasps are scary, man.
Wasps are like terrorists.
Yeah.
Like they're bee terrorists. Like, oh, here's these humble little creatures. They'll fly around. They're very non-violent, and if they are violent, they die as a punishment. They just pollinate flowers. They just love chill dudes. And here's like a offshoot of them, which are literal terrorists that will hunt you down. They hate you. They will sting you repeatedly. They have um no death
Uh,
on weapon use, like nightmarish
Good.
creatures.
I don't know why. I just looked up a wasp in Google and I immediately was recoiled. I'm
Look up Anthead.
gonna look up ant face. Ant. No. Ant face. Oh man.
Do you have you changed your mind?
Some of them are pretty bad, but not all of
Okay, all right.
them. Jeez Louise. Well,
I
yeah, no,
won't.
I'm not saying that it's not horrifying, but by comparison,
Yeah, that's why I said I think it's a 2 point difference max. Like, but I don't think it's too far away. Like you were saying, I don't think they're scary. I think they can. I think they are. Like,
that's fair. All right, you have changed my mind. I got one good look at that, and I was like, yeah, I'm
yeah,
good.
don't look up spider face.
No, I'm not gonna look up spider face. I looked up ant face.
I won't
That
bring
was
up Terry
that was not
House.
fun.
This is an in joke.
Dude, I hate. No, you we can bring up Terry House.
Don't bring up Terry House.
All right, here's the context for Terry House.
No. Okay, fine.
So
I'll explain it. I'll explain it.
okay.
I'll
We can't
explain it.
not mention Terry
I'll
House and
explain it,
then
Nolan.
be like,
I'll
okay,
explain it,
okay,
Nolan.
okay.
In order to understand the limits of Nolan's like phobia,
Mhm.
I wanted to see like what to what extent he would be scared of like a spider for like how long, like how deep the phobia goes. So
Mhm.
I gave him like a thought experiment where it's like, how long could you survive in like a house with a tarantula that you can't kill that follows you around slowly?
With Terry House, right? I just don't want to be in the presence of that spider.
I mean, it's
Uh,
understandable.
The the instance I see Terry, I'm like, nope, and I leave. I don't think I would last like an hour.
Do you think that it's like,
Terry House.
do you think any sort of like exposure therapy would work to help you get over your arachnophobia? Or do you think,
No,
okay,
I would piss myself.
well, that doesn't, pissing yourself isn't like dying. So that's something, but
It's like
you think
I
you're
just
it's inescapable fear. Like you can never get over
it,
this phobia.
dude, anytime I see a spider, I like for the next week, I'll be thinking of like, is there a spider around me? It's that bad. I hate spiders.
Okay.
When I was a kid, one of my favorite games, Zelda Twilight Princess. They had the way that they did Skulltulas was that they were like super hairy and realistic, and I couldn't get past the first dungeon of that game because there's a Skulltula in one of the areas that you had to fight,
Yeah.
and so I just turned my Wii off because
Okay.
I was like, I can't play this game. And then I went back like a couple of years later and was like, oh, spider in game. And then I was like, I kind of grit my teeth. I was like, okay, here we go. And then I killed it. I'm like, okay.
I don't
That's like
think
the
I've
only
had a
time they show up in the
fear.
game.
I don't think I've had a fear like that bad of a phobia, but I'm not sure because that
Weird.
seems very visceral to have to deal
It
with.
was it was it was bad. I hated it. But you know, it is what it is. I try to avoid spider contact. Now if I like see I've gotten to the point to where it's like if I see like a small spider, I'm like, okay, that's not that bad. I'll like put it in a cup and slide some paper and like put it outside, right?
So no Australia for
But
you.
no, I want to go to Australia, but the only reason that I'm not going for any reason is because there's like spider.
Yeah,
There's a clock spider
there's
that
horrifying spiders there.
horrifies me.
Yeah, I that that's horrifying. I can look at that, but I would not want to be in a room with one.
I can't. I can't even look at it. I can't even look at that. I can't believe that's real. On the subject, okay, I'll ask you this, right? Um, does scaling something like super big make it scarier?
I think there is a fear in things that there's a certain like size category that it is scary that it is small. Like
Yeah.
like with like with a spider, right? Like let's say if it's a black widow
Mhm.
or a clock spider.
Yeah.
The fact that it is so quick and can escape you very easily and you can't just like punch it makes it
Yeah.
horrifying. Um
Yeah.
like if I can I don't know, but like a giant spider is also terrifying. I don't know.
Okay. What would like terrify you more? Like the spider the size of a car, or the spider the size of like the Empire State Building,
Hmm.
or like just like a skyscraper, right? Because for me, it's the spider of a car, right? If a spider
How
is like the size of a skyscraper,
yeah.
it's so big, it's influential. Like it's not gonna fuck with you intentionally.
How close is the skyscraper spider? Like, cause the
Like
skyscraper spider can't do anything to me, but I don't know if we could do anything to it.
I
Like, are
mean, you
these
can do like
normal
nuclear or something.
occurrences?
I guess it's like a kaiju spider, right?
Hmm.
But it's like kaiju spider, right? Let's say you're in the city where kaiju spider is.
I think I could avoid kaiju spider a lot better than car spider.
That's the thing, right? Like kaiju spider is big kaiju. It's gonna get into buildings and all that stuff. But kaiju spider is so big. The little like we are ants to it. It doesn't matter, right? We're so small that we're not consequential to its like hunger patterns, right?
Yeah.
But a car spider, like we're around the size of like its normal prey when it's normal size. If it's
Yeah.
the size of a car,
Yeah,
so then it's gonna hunt us.
are the spiders the same speed as a normal spider?
I would
Because
say yes.
if they're the same speed, then I would be more scared of the kaiju spider because that thing would be like scuttling around the earth. I also think
Well,
a
I feel like
spider is bad for a kaiju because it's a creature that has to be very spread out in order to walk.
yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't know. They just freak me out. I feel like car spider would be ridiculous. Also, one of my like another really bad fear is if like or a way to accelerate the fear
Yeah.
is if I see a spider right in my kitchen, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll get the spider. But if I see a spider and I'm like getting undressed to take a shower, and then I see it in the bathroom, no,
Well, are you scared of
I
like
I
daddy long legs?
no, not really. But I
Okay.
feel like the fear is accelerated if you're naked, because that means you're more
You're
vulnerable. You're in a
unarmored.
more vulnerable state. Yeah, right? If you're about to like go take a shower, you're getting naked in order to get yourself like in a vulnerable state to clean yourself. And if you see this thing that you're already like uncomfortable around, that's gonna get exponentially worse.
Yeah. Well, you're. I mean, yeah, because you're more vulnerable. Like the spider being
Yeah.
there emphasizes that like it's gonna be more difficult for you.
Yeah.
I'll ask this though. Going off the
Yes.
hypotheticals.
Hypothetical. Just like our hypothetical listening.
If you could have a single animal that you basically was like your D&D ranger animal companion, it could be any animal
Oh,
and you can talk to it and it can talk to you. What would it be?
does it have the relative intelligence of that animal?
Hmm. It's slightly more intelligent.
Slightly more. Okay.
Like
Um.
it's able to
Hmm.
have like minor conversations with you, not about very deep things. Like if it's a dog, it'll talk about like treats and like ball and pet. But if it's a rat, you might be able to talk to it a bit more.
I feel like a parrot then.
So a bird,
Yeah, specifically like a parrot because they're already pretty smart and can replicate language.
okay.
So I feel like I might be able to talk to it a little more.
So I want you to think about
And
this one.
I like birds. I like birds.
So out of
Birds are cool.
all of the animals in the world
Mhm.
that you could obtain as one you can talk to, you choose one
Yeah.
that can already somewhat talk.
Well, you said their intelligence is elevated. So I'm going off of the consensus that like if their intelligence is elevated, I'll be able to have more concise and like interesting conversations with it because it's already smart.
I mean, I respect the choice. I think, I think you could have gone and picked something that has more, would be more unique. I don't know. Like a parrot can already kind of talk.
Yeah. But now it can talk more.
Would choose a tardigrade.
Choose a tardigrade.
Do you know what a tardigrade is?
I, I know it's in a song. Isn't it like a thing that fucks around with moss or something? Or like, oh no, isn't it the water bear?
Yes.
Isn't that what a tardigrade is? Aren't they also like not great to look at up close?
They're kind of disgusting. They look like maggot manatees, but they're like microscopic. I also would not actually choose this. This is like a dumb answer. Um, they're like microscopic. They can live in space. Um, I don't know. I actually
Aren't they like
probably
also in us or like vibing around our space right now?
I don't know. I don't know if they're like
Mm,
bacteria. I don't think they're that small.
uh,
They're 5 millimeters.
Oh wow.
They're not zero point 0.5, not five.
Oh,
Um,
okay, yeah,
if they're
that's not
five,
as.
they'd be a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not small.
No, they're not. I don't think they're small to live inside of us.
Okay. Um.
It's a
Yeah,
joke answer though. I
but
don't know
like
what I'd actually choose. Maybe a rat.
I don't
Maybe
know.
a
Right, okay, cool.
hmm,
I guess another cool one, harping back to episode 4, uh, Komodo dragon. Would be kind
Komodo
of cool.
dragon. You'd have one dual Jackson.
Yeah, I could be like, all right, Jackson, time to prove yourself. Let's see if you can do it.
You're big into reptiles. I was surprised you didn't choose like an octopus.
Yeah, well,
I guess the octopus wouldn't be great when you're like wandering about, but it could tell you
yeah,
ocean
right.
secrets.
It can tell me ocean secrets only if I'm by the ocean though, or like I have it in like an uncomfortable water bowl that I'd have to carry it around. Which I
True.
don't think octopus wants to vibe in there, man. It just wants to vibe in the ocean. Also, they only live like 3 years. So
Rough. Immortal
reason
octopus.
another reason that I chose parrot is because like they live forever. They live like 60 years. I'm gonna have that dude for a while.
Hmm.
My I had an African gray parrot,
Yeah.
which those are the dudes that are like known for talking.
Hmm.
My mom, his name is Randy, and she got him before I was born.
Oh.
And so she like he was an egg, and so he imprinted on my mom, and so he would just hang out with her. She would just like let him chill on the couch, and they would watch TV. She would just be watching like a talk show, and when the audience laughed, he would laugh. All that stuff.
Okay.
Um, and he was supposed to outlive her, and it was going to be my pet eventually, because he was going to live to be like 60.
Yeah.
But when we were moving around a lot, we had to leave him with a friend, and with that friend, she didn't really know
Like declined
a
in
whole lot of
health.
like the yeah.
Oh,
It
I'm sorry
like
about that,
it
man.
got super depressed without my mom. And so it was like, yeah, it is what it is. Right. I thought about getting a bird when I have like my own space, I thought about getting like a parrot. I feel like that'd be a cool pet to have.
The thing is with birds, they're really loud.
Oh yeah, that
That's the
dude,
only
that
one
guy
that
was
I couldn't.
loud.
That's why I couldn't deal with them. They're very
That dude
loud.
was loud.
I'm
He would squawk all day and night.
I'm cool chilling with dog. I like my dog, even though my dog is basically a
Dog
drug
are
addict for treats.
cool. Jeez.
Love
Is it
her,
time to have an
but
intervention for Lily?
I mean, her love is completely conditional on treat. I think it just shows how much of a bad owner I was when I was younger. Because now she's frustrated with me because I've stopped like acting the way I used to about it. Now she's
Uh,
just like very indignant about it. She's
she's
like,
like,
"Where's my
eh.
treat, bozo? Give me
Back
the
in the
treat."
back in the old days, you would slather me.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know about
Now
that
I
though.
get nothing.
She's alive pretty long though, so
Yeah,
I guess it's
that's
working.
been
Whatever
like
I'm doing.
what, 14,
She's 13, I believe, maybe 12. I'm not sure.
13.
But
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Back to you though.
Back to me.
New question.
Question.
Who is your role model?
Ooh. I don't know. I don't feel like I have anyone in particular. I have like a couple people.
Okay.
Like, oh, excuse me. My
Your
dad's a
excuse.
big one. I always try to like look to him as an example of how easily things can turn out if you're not careful.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'll learn from that example. I also
What do you mean by that? How easily things can turn out?
like he made a lot of mistakes in his life where if he just made one other decision, he would have been loaded. Because he would have, if he made the right decisions, he would have owned like a skateboard company now. He would have been a part of Globe. He would have done a lot of stuff, but just made one too many wrong turns, and now he works for Spectrum. But hey, he's still like doing good. It's not like he's in shambles, and so I feel like that's also a lesson of perseverance. It's just like if you just keep going at it, then you'll eventually be fine. I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty good lesson.
So he's more
Um, yeah.
okay. So he's also perseverance, but it's also more of like, is it kind of like what not to do to an extent? Because that's kind of what I got from that. Or do you mean something
It's kind
else?
of like a cautionary tale type of deal, right?
Okay.
It's just like be careful with your decisions. Don't allow yourself to be guided by just like spur of the moment things.
Okay. Let me ask a slightly different question then. Is there like a
Sure.
character in fiction or nonfiction that you like personally relate to a lot that you wish to be more like or
Hmm.
something like that?
In fiction or nonfiction,
Nonfiction, I guess, isn't that great as an like to apply to this, but
yeah, I guess in fiction. Yeah. That's another good question. Alex Yeek. No.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know Alex Yeek from Y2K's A Postmodern RPG?
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I know you despise that game with a burning passion.
It's rough. Oh man, I love making fun of it, but the guy who made it was pretty chill. No, in all seriousness, I guess like, hmm, I guess in
This is a reference to
media,
the game, but like, shut up about your dead sister. God,
your sister died, Rory.
that game is
It's
so
like, dude,
stupid.
come on, how tone deaf.
How
Um,
utterly tone deaf, dude.
I guess like a big one is Zuko.
From Airbender.
Yeah, not in like my dad abused me is how I relate to him.
Yeah, I don't think your dad abused you, Nolan. But like, what about
No,
what he like the journey he went through and like him as a character? Do
like
you relate to?
in his mind, he always felt like for a lot of his character growth that he had something to prove,
Yeah.
right? be it to like his father, his nation, or his mom that's gone, or like his sister, anything, right? His goal was to be like, I am worth it. I was like a big thing in that show was one thing he mentioned was his sister Azula was born lucky. He was lucky to be born, right?
It's a good line.
And the whole point of his character for a while was like he's proving that it wasn't luck. He's born for a reason. And eventually he learns that he doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. He can just be himself, and that is enough. He made friends, and those friends care for him because he is Zuko, right? And so for me, I relate a lot to that because a lot of my early growth was me and my mom were like the black sheeps of the family. We weren't really like generally liked by a lot of our family. And there's always this sense of I was just born to be not enough, right?
Yeah.
But throughout my life, I've learned that I shouldn't care about what how that makes I shouldn't care about what people think about me in regards to like whether I'm worth it or not. I'll always be enough, right? And if I find people who are worth the time and willing to get to know me as a person, I will devote myself to them because they're the people that are proving the fact that I'm worth it. I'm enough. So I'm going to prove to them that they're worth it. They're enough. I hang out with them because they're them, not because of like I have an ulterior motive or something to gain, right?
Do you ever feel like authentic, or do you ever feel like inauthentic to when you talk to people? Or do you
I
always feel
used to.
like you are at the point where you know who you are and talk to people in the way that is true to you?
I for the most part, yeah. Like I feel like when I was growing up, I used to wear a mask type of deal. Or that's what the point of the mask is.
Okay.
I
Okay, Nolan.
I used to wear this like visage of this fake person who would just say stuff to not get in trouble, right?
Mm,
But now I kind of just say things in order to because it's like who I am. I'm not gonna hide like my opinion on stuff because it's generally not liked or anything. If people, but I'm also not the kind of person who is gonna flaunt around my opinion about stuff, right? If you come up to me and ask me stuff, I'll give my opinion, but I'm not gonna run up to you and be like, so and so should be in prison because X and Y."
okay.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not the type of person I am.
Why do you think you're not that kind of person? Do you think there's like distinct things that have happened in your life that have made you not be so like vocal about your what you believe in?
My family, they were all very vocal about how I and my mom weren't like the greatest in the family. So I was like, okay. I feel like people don't deserve to know your opinion all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like people that's not like respect is here's the thing about respect, right? At least in my opinion about it. Every person should like respect is given to a stranger the moment you meet them, but like you can't just walk all over the person as soon as you meet them, right? You gotta respect them as like a stranger and show them that like, yeah, I'm not gonna be immediately in your face about whatever and whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so if I were to go up to people, all I'm doing is just doing what my family did to me. And so I just feel that's hypocritical.
Okay.
So I try to respect people's boundaries and respect what they enjoy and what they don't, or their opinions on stuff. And if they want to come to me and discuss stuff, then I'll be more than happy to.
How much of someone can that person personally change? Like
Yeah.
if you're a person that constantly has like shares their opinion, and that's like how they have lived their life, their like the whole span of it. Do you think that
Mhm.
person can like change that about themselves, even if they don't like it, or do you think that most of that is set in stone? Like, how much do you believe in the personal free will to change oneself?
100%. I feel
Okay.
like any one person can change any one aspect of themselves completely, right? It be it through like whatever means you deem. I don't feel like there's nothing wrong with wanting to change, and there's nothing wrong with changing even if you don't want to, right? Because that's a part of growing, right? Growing is to change, and if you refuse to, then all you're doing is just like refusing to grow up. And there are some things, of course, that like if you view them as like I don't want to change this, and it's not because like I'm living in the past, but it's because this is what makes me happy type of deal, and it isn't like outwardly destructive, then I don't feel like you have to, but you can change it, right? It's just that the option is always there.
If there was one thing, if there's one thing, is there anything about yourself that you want to change, or do are you like completely at peace with who you are? Because I know you said like you try to be yourself most of the time, but is there stuff about you that you want to work towards changing?
I feel like I'm very quick to anger
Okay.
on a lot of things. I feel like I have like a very short temper. If I could change that, I would like to. Like being yourself doesn't necessarily mean you're being like, outwardly nice, you know? And
Yeah.
sometimes I get in spats with you that afterward I'm like, why did I say that? That was
Well,
not cool of me.
I mean, well, with people, right? Like, there's the there's the things that are like bad about them, the things that are good about them, and
Mhm.
that combination of things is who they are as a person. I don't know if I fully agree that you can change all the positive and negative things about you, because at a certain point you have to accept positive things and negative things. I don't even know how much of certain things about yourself that you may perceive as negative or another person might perceive as negative is actually negative or is just seen that way. Like probably psychopathy is a negative, but
Mhm.
like some people don't like extra like super extroverted people or super introverted people, but that is who people are. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling. I mean, what's your take on that?
I mean, the first step to change is accepting that you need to, right? If like you're the only person that can mandate whether you can change or not, right? And you can listen to a person go on about like this part of you stinks, right? But it doesn't matter if you don't accept that. It's you need to come to the realization that, oh, I'm quick to anger, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it actively makes other people uncomfortable. It actively like detriments my friendships. I don't want that. So
What if
I'm
that
willing to
is?
change that.
But what if that is who you are? Like,
Then I need to change.
do you think that parts of you that you might have a problem with are because of other parts of you that you are positive about? Like someone who is extremely confident, um, that's something that is seen as very good, but there can also come like this deep arrogance to that if it's
Mhm.
allowed to go to a further extent. It's like with that positive, there's also negative.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all confident people are also deeply arrogant, but there is
Yeah,
that
I get
trade
you.
off.
It's like it's the idea of it's the idea of the change that you're willing to go through, right? I feel like the person is not a set in stone list of rules of how you are. I view that I try to be myself when wherever I go, whenever I go, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't 100% know who I am all the time.
Okay.
I know aspects of myself. I know that like what I do and don't like. I know what I can and cannot do. But that does not mean that that is 100% guaranteed what I am for the rest of my life, right?
Yeah.
The person is a thing that can change. So the visage of that person can also change.
Okay.
I don't no matter what, nothing can be set in stone for a person, at least in my mind. If you look at it and are willing to change it, then you can change it. If you look at it and you're like, I'm not willing to change that, then it probably won't change.
All right. I think that's probably a good spot to end off on because
All right.
it was a pretty profound statement you made. But I will ask the last question
Ah, yes.
between us is the collected volumes of The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R.
Yes.
Tolkien. Why exactly do you think there are the collected volumes of The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien in between our two pixelated heads, Nolan?
Well, originally, I thought that there's an inside joke that in high school you used to call me Frodo Baggins because I kind of looked like Elijah Wood in Lord of the Rings.
You look exactly like Elijah Wood.
I don't think exactly is the
I
right
also did
word I
not
would
call
use,
you
but all
Frodo
right.
Baggins as a nickname. I said you look like him a lot.
You would call me Frodo Baggins a lot. You would also call me Plo Koon a lot, but that's besides the point.
Bruh.
Um, that was my original thought. But now I think that these books are here because, as my friend, you're willing to help me conquer my fear of spiders, and we're going to be using these books to smash spiders together as friends. Because that's what friends do.
Yeah, I just realized don't read these books.
What?
Uh, do you know who Shelob is?
No.
Oh.